Greetings, the Astro 30 here yet again, and welcome back to AEL. Now today I'm going to be finalising this project, this 140 odd watt into 8 ohm, what's going to be a guitar amp now, and I'll explain why I'm wearing gloves in just a moment. So today it's going to be finalising the front panel, putting the front panel artwork on it, and putting the case together and finishing it off. But I want to discuss a couple of things first. Now, due to a suggestion in the comments, I've actually reversed this fan around, so now the airflow is coming in rather than going out. Because the comment was made, and I tend to agree, I've never seen someone try to suck out a candle. In other words, it's better to have the air blowing over the heatsink rather than trying to suck the air out away from the heatsink. So that's being changed. I did mess around with that VBE multiplier and change this potentiometer to a 500 ohm, but all that resulted in was an unadjustable 165 mA of current. So I put it back to the way it was without totally redesigning the circuit. Yeah, So I've elected to make it 65 mA for both channels, which seems about okay. That will adjust down to 65. The other one will just lower. Not sure why. It could be because of the tolerances or differences in matching of the transistors here in the drivers or whatever. Not really sure. Remember, this did blow up at one stage. And I've also rerouted my grounds. So the ground from the power amp's now coming off from the ground post over here to the chassis earth. Now, for those of you wondering what these extra 4 holes are for, well, allow me to explain. Now, it is for a PCB, and it's for these. I decided to have a little placard made, which says, Astro's Electronics Lab, my YouTube address, where it's made, Australia, a position here for a model number and a serial number, 240 volt AC, 50 Hertz, and risk of electric shock, basically do not open. So let's get one of the PCBs out, and that's the reason why I'm wearing gloves, because I want to spray some protective coating on this before touching it. So there it is there. Yeah, see, risk of electric shock, do not open. I think that looks quite sexy, to be honest. And it's just blank on the back. That's fine. What I have to do is I have to paint the edges of this with black texture or something before I spray it, so you can't see the edge of the fiberglass here. This is only 1mm thick stock, not 1.6 FR4, so it shouldn't protrude that far. And it just allows me to screw it on the back panel. So I need to find a black texture. Right, I found it. So that's basically all I'm going to do. It's not going to be perfectly black, but as long as it covers the edge. Right, so I'm not going to bore you watching me paint the edge of a PCB with a pen. There we are. It's not perfect, but it'll do. So now I need to spray this with some clear coat and let it dry. So that's the next thing I'm going to do. There, that's what I was going for. The labels aren't exactly straight, but yeah, it doesn't matter. Right, now to apply this to the back panel. There, that looks a little bit more professional. Oops. At least it says what model and serial number. I just made numbers up, but it makes the unit look a little bit more professional, I guess. Well, that was the idea I was going for anyway. Right, moving on to the front panel. So I've got it marked out as to where the panel that sits on top of this is going to go. I haven't got that yet. I'm waiting for that to be manufactured, and then I'll make sure that my holes line up correctly with the panel. I did notice that my measurement of 400 kind of goes over where the handles go where the edge of the PCB is going to be, but I reckon that's going to be fine. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. So, I'm just going to check one thing. I've already sorted my knobs out for my pots, but I just want to make sure that my measurements look okay with the PCB, and they appear to. So, yeah, I think that's going to be fine. So, I'll wait for the panel, and then I'll marry this PCB up to the panel, make sure it fits through the holes correctly. And if I have to massage holes, I have to massage holes, but that is yet to be seen. So, moving on to the next bit, which is verifying that the panel sits on here nicely and all the holes line up. Drill it, and I'm planning on gluing the PCB after I put a protective clear coat on top of it, of course, actually to the aluminium panel underneath with some contact adhesive just to hold it flat, because there's going to be, like, you know, a lip here all the way around that you may be able to get your fingernail on and flick around. So I want to stop that as much as possible by kind of permanently attaching the panel to the aluminium fascia. So that's the next task. And moving on, I'm going to get rid of these gloves because they're pissing me off. Well, my PCBs for the front panel to the amplifier have arrived. So I'm curious as to how these turned out. If I can get the box open, that'd be great. I like how they used two boxes taped together for the smaller PCBs instead of using a larger box. Oh well. Oh, that is awesome. That turned out exponentially better than I thought. It looks okay in the CAD program, but Jesus Christ, it looks so much better in reality. So there was a little bit of confusion with PCBWay as usual, with just doing a PCB with no you know, copper tracks or holes or anything in it, of what to cut out, because all the layers appeared to be the same. I don't know why KiCad did that, but it did. So I had to explain to him 4 times that it's just no copper tracks, solder mask on the top side, silk screen on top of that. Then they wanted to know is, do we cut out these round circles and these squares? And I'm like, the circles, yes, because they're on the edge cuts. The squares, or rounded rectangles, no, because, well, the text would disappear. But speaking of the rectangles, how good does that look? Like, it looks like the front of a guitar amplifier. Like, that is so awesome. I'm not going to take one out of the bag just yet, because I'd have to put some black texture around the edge of the PCB. These are 1mm thick, and then spray it with some clear lacquer to protect it before handling it any further. But the knobs I chose will fit in these whatever these things are called, scales. That'll be a good word for it. Just fine, so that's fine. I thought the text might have been a bit bigger than that, but no, that's fine. Absolutely. I'm very, very, very extremely happy. So this is going to look great once it's on the front panel. The next thing, after I've protected this panel with some clear coat, I'm going to then marry this up to my markings on the front panel that I've already got on the masking tape and make sure that everything lines up properly before drilling it, and then work out how I'm going to attach the panel to the metalwork. I'm probably going to glue it, and then just assemble everything, and then we're going to finish off this project finally. It's only been, what, 6 months? Anyway, let's get to protecting this, and then I'll come back after I've done that, and then we'll move on to drilling the panel and final assembly and having a look how it looks on the rack mount case.
Would you like some jelly babies?
Oh, thank you very much. Excuse me.
Well, the panel's done and it turned out real nice. These holes here are a little bit on the small side. It's supposed to be like about 10.5, I believe. I only had 10, so I had to massage the holes with a file, basically. Knobs are on. It's glued down using some liquid nails, a little bit squeezed out here. And I'll have to clean the panel a bit, but yeah, looks pretty sexy. I did forget to include the brightness switch, which goes in between these two controls. It would have looked silly and wanky there anyway. So I need to decide through a sound test whether I want brightness permanently or just leave it as it is. I might just make it brightness permanently. All I have to do is just install a link wire down in there where it says bright with a line pointing to those two things with the square around it. That's where the switch is supposed to go. But yeah, I mean, I could have ran some wires and put a switch here or so, but Anyway, so the next thing to do is to clean the panel up a bit so it looks a little bit neater, and put the handles on, and then put this onto the case. Let's go. Check it out. It looks sexier than Peter Garrett's big bald head. I'm quite happy how that turned out, actually. It looks great on the unit. I decided to go with permanently bright, so I've got a link wire in there. All the wiring's tidied up and cable tied, etc. Nothing is touching where it shouldn't. I now think it's time to put the bottom panel on. Ooh. So I've got some rubber feet to put on it. HB0825, and I'll put them on the panel before I put it on the bottom. This is the front, that's the back here. So I'll just open this packet, which I've had lying around for a couple of months now, ready for this project. Okay, so one bit of chocolate. Two bit of chocolate. It's amazing that this panel's been sitting in its box for months and there's still dust on it. How is that possible? Anyway, 3 bit of chocolate, and finally 4 bit of chocolate. And no matter how hard I try, I still get one crooked. Nice, extra nice, Doctor Who nice. Yeah, it's okay. Let's put it on the unit. Good night. Alright. Well, sweet baby Jesus, it's done. Yeah, so now it's sitting up on its feet. Yay. Nice. I am quite happy of how this has turned out. Nice. So what's next? Well, putting the top lid on. But need to do the obligatory sound test first. I've even made up a speak-on connector. Yeah. Helps to plug it in. I forgot I did that. Still works. sound too bad actually. I'm quite happy. Alright, time to put the top on. Pull and twist, and that comes out. And plug the power. There we go. Good night. And there we go. Project is finally complete after 6 months. I am so happy to see that all in one piece now. So next thing to do would be to take it all back apart again. No. Just put it in the corner, let it gather some dust. No, I need to get a cabinet, a speaker cabinet to hook it to. And then I can use it. But for now I'm going to put it somewhere safe, clean and dry. And we may look at this again later in another video. But I hope you enjoyed this journey. I enjoyed making it. If so, please show your gratitude by subscribing, liking and commenting below. And this is the Astro 30 as always saying, see ya, have a great day. Bass Buddy 200 watt. Even though that's kind of a lie, but a lot of other companies lie anyway, so yeah.